Absolutely.
Got it. Delta Airlines has announced a partnership with Saudi Arabian Airlines, and if you're a Jew or a Christian who's visited Israel in the past, getting on a flight to Riyadh might be more difficult than you think. Father Jonathan Morris is the author of God Wants You Happy. He joins the company once again. Father, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Let's get this clear now. Delta has a business relationship now with Saudi Arabian Airlines. And if I want to book a ticket through Delta to go to Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, I will have to conform to some of the restrictions laid down by Saudi Arabian Airlines. Is that correct?
That's right, which is run, of course, by the country.
Right.
Right? Which means you also, it's not just a question of having an Israeli stamp in your passport that's going to give you trouble. How about carrying a Bible onto that airline? How about wearing a crucifix? How about wearing a Star of David? Not going to happen.
You can't do that?
Not going to happen. And you know what? And you know what is really disturbing, I think, is that Delta Airlines, instead of just manning up to it and saying, hey, listen, yes, we have made an alliance with Saudi Arabian Airlines. Yes, we have to follow their restrictions, and these restrictions are the following. What they've said is this, pure obfuscation. Every airline makes deals with other airlines, partners, alliances, and they're all subject to those restrictions.
Right.
But what they haven't said is that they're the only airlines, American Airlines, that have made an agreement with Saudi Arabian Airlines. And so, if you're a Christian and you want to make sure that is known by an external sign, you're going to have trouble.
So you, with your collar, you could not get on a Delta flight that takes you to, say, London and then transfer to a Saudi Arabian Airlines flight that would take you to Saudi Arabia. You couldn't do that, just like that.
That's going to be the test. Because Delta has already said, by principle, nah, we're more interested in making money. It's going to take people who are going and not trying to provoke, but just being who they are, so getting on the airlines and finding out what happens.
Is it morally wrong to make a business partnership of this sort on the part of Delta? Is it?
You know what? I would say this. We're always participating, cooperating in some sort of evil. If I buy a box of cereal, I don't know what that cereal company is involved in and all of there's always some participation. But when you get very close participation, when you're making deals with an airline that doesn't allow people to enter their country because they have a stamp from Israel, I think that's too close of a participation, not right. Delta has to, and if it were right, why don't they just say what they're doing? Instead, they're making these mission statements that have absolutely no grounding in reality.
You know, I guess, though, this brings up a serious issue, though, for these corporations. Google in China, for instance, the amount of money that they're not making there is billions of dollars. You know, we've got a world that's growing tremendously, and America wants to be a part of that. How do these companies handle these type of situations?
You know what? Again, it comes down to saying how we're always going to be participating, as I said, in some sort of wrongdoing, right? And in the sense that we have friendships, we're relationships, company, partnerships, businesses. But when we get to a point in which we say, listen, we are provoking, or we are participating in a way that's very close to the evil that is being allowed, then we have to back away.
So let's be clear. Are you saying Delta should not be in this business relationship?
I am definitely saying that if they are unable to, by their participation, change the restrictions upon the people who are paying them to fly, yes, they should get out of the partnership. A very good thing, however, would be if Delta can go to Saudi Arabian Airlines and saying, hey, listen, you want our money? Let's talk about these restrictions. Are these restrictions right? And I think that's the way we can participate in things that are imperfect, but change for the good.
Well, the Saudi Arabian Airlines says we're not discriminating on religious grounds.
Do you believe them?
Wait a second. They do not prohibit Jews, somebody with a Jewish last name, for example. They don't prohibit that person from getting on a flight to Riyadh. They don't do that.
I would agree with that. But are they going to allow somebody to carry their Bible onto their plane?
I don't know that. But
we'll find out.
But I think they should be clear that that Bible or the crucifix or your clothing would be subject to confiscation at the far end because you're not allowed to do that in Saudi Arabia. They should be clear on that, I think.
If you can't even have a mass said publicly or a Christian evangelical service said publicly in the country, which you can't, do you think they're going to allow me to walk onto their plane that's run by the government with the Bible,
do you object
the past history says no.
If you're going to do any business with Saudi Arabia, the country, any business at all, it's going to come into conflict with your morality as a Christian.
No, you know
or a
what?
Jew.
I think there's definitely ways, and this is to your point, Charles, that we can engage with very imperfect countries and businesses, but we have to go in there with strings attached.
And tell
we have
people
to say,
truth. Tell people the truth. Tell
That's
the
right.
potential Delta customers, this is how it is, folks.
Delta
This
has
is what's
not
going
done
on.
that yet. They've put out these statements, these PR statements, that certainly don't line up with, listen to this mission statement by Delta very quickly. We, Delta's employees, customers, and community partners together form a force for positive local and global change. This is the mission statement of the country. Does this alliance line up with their mission statement? If so, they have to explain how it is. I don't see it.
Fired up, Father Jonathan Morris, on the issue of morality on Varney and Company.
Just kind of basic common sense.
Yeah, but
it's not a religious issue. It's a common sense ethical issue.
There's more to business than just money and profit and loss. There is an element of morality, and we thank you very much for bringing it to the show. We appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks.